Good afternoon and welcome to Crafters TV. I'm so excited to be here with you for this afternoon's craft along. Let's be honest, it's a very exciting day here at Crafters TV and here at Crafters Companion in general. We're kick-starting our winter sale today. We've got a flash sale on 3 for 2 on adhesives and paper and card. Check that out on the website. I'll be referencing that a little bit more throughout the show. Also 100 bonus points on all orders that you place that are over the value of £20 or $20. So my goodness me, there's an awful lot going off today. You really have picked a very good day to join us. Now you might have caught this morning's wake-up call with Ben and Craig. It was an absolute cracker of a show, let's be honest. I was lucky enough to be sat in the gallery behind the scenes for that show, and blimey, it was an absolutely brilliant show. So good that they've actually had to go and have a lie down. They'll be back tonight for a brilliant cartload, a winter sale special. So I'm here for the craft along, just an hour this afternoon. I'm going to focus on education and we're going to bring you a craft along using our fabulous make and send card making pads. Really excited to share this one with you. Something a little bit different with this craft along. So we're sort of wanting to put a different spin on these make and send card making pads. Of course, they're great for your quick makes. They're great to make cards if you're beginners, and you also get the envelopes included as well. And that was sort of the inspiration for this particular project. I was inspired by the envelopes that you get within the pad to actually create a little sort of memory book. And this is what we're going to be creating on this afternoon's craft along, but we're going to mix it up a little bit. So for this particular one that I've got here, the one that we have shown you the pictures of already, we've used the everyday the all occasions make and send pads to create this envelope book. But on this afternoon's craft along, we're going to mix it up a little bit and we're actually going to use the Christmas. We're going to do a little Christmas book. But you can see we've got lots of our family photos in here. I was thinking this would be quite a nice gift, perhaps a Christmas gift for my sister. And we've got all of the envelopes loaded up with photos, almost like a little mini scrapbook if you like, but really manageable, just using 4 envelopes, and it all folds together really easily, just like so. However, what are you going to need to actually put together this craft along? It is super easy, and I've tried to keep it nice and simple, so you're not actually going to need too much apart from the main star of the show, which is of course those fabulous make and send pads. So what you're going to need to start with is the 12 by 12 inch make and send pads. Like I say, I use the all occasions for my first project, but today we're going to be using the Christmas, so totally up to you which one you go for. You'll also need from Spectrum Noir your black art liners, a ribbon bow, tacky glue, foam tape or foam pads, a guillotine, pair of scissors, pokey tool, and then photos of your choice. And that is literally everything you're going to need. I tried to sort of take this back to basics, so you've got basically pretty much all you need within that pad, and we're just adding in our core tools. You might have noticed die cutting machine is gone. Sorry Gemini, but you're not needed for this craft on this afternoon. I know, it's very rare that I don't use a die cutting machine when I craft, but the perfect thing about these particular make and send pads is that you don't need a die cutting machine. So if you're crafting on the go, or if you're a beginner, or even crafting with the kids, this is going to be a perfect collection and project to have a little go at. So we're going to start off with actually creating that book. That whole envelope folding book, and we need 4 envelopes to be able to create the book. So what I've done from the pad, this is the Christmas, I've torn out 4 of the different designs of envelope, and you do get 4 different designs. The kit allows you to create 16 cards with matching envelopes and inserts if you use it almost like it's been intended, if you like. But of course we're going a little bit rogue and we're not using it perhaps how it's been designed, and I think there's something so fun about being able to mix it up, and it shows the versatility of our products as well. And all I'm going to do is I'm using my guillotine to just trim out the envelope. So just cutting along there, cutting along that edge, and then you can see we've got a little bit of excess print on that side there, so we're just going to go back in and trim that off. So that's one of our envelopes all trimmed out. And you can see that this forms our insert if we were creating a card base, and then we've got all of those borders that we could be using for another project. If you tuned into this morning's wake-up call, you might have seen the card that Craig actually created, and he showed how you can use the borders as a full piece. You don't have to trim them into individual strips. You can use that as a full panel of pattern paper, and that's going to give you an equally fabulous effect on all of your projects. It's just showing options. I don't want you to look at these pads and think that, yeah, they're great for quick makes, but they're only really for beginners. And if you're more of an advanced crafter, perhaps you've been crafting for years and you prefer more involved projects that you can really get your teeth into, I don't want you to think that these are not for you, because we want to show on this afternoon's craft along, and as well equally on Craig's demos this morning on Wake Up Call, that there's a lot more you can do with these besides just using them in the way that they've been intended, which is to create your card base. And then you've got your matching envelope and insert and all the die cut embellishments as well to add on to your projects. We're just showing that different perspective. I think is really fun, and that's something that I love to do whenever I get a new product, whether it's a paper pad, a set of dies, stamps, anything at all. I like to sort of think, right, how can I push this? How can I push the boundaries? How can I come up with something that's that little bit different that's going to make this product go even further, and just be a little bit more creative. And I think there's so much fun in just taking that different perspective with all your crafty products. So I've got all of my inserts here, all of my borders as well, but I'm going to leave them to one side. We're not going to use these in this particular project. It goes to show how much you get within just the one sheet. It is incredible. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our scoreboard. Now I'm using my Scoremaster. It doesn't have to be a really big scoreboard. It can be an A4 scoreboard. That'll work perfectly as well. But first of all, we're just going to trim out these notches. So you'll notice on one side we've got more of a plain design, and then on the other side we've got our little perforation lines that we're going to score along in a moment. And we've also got these areas that we just need to trim into. So if you've ever used your Ultimate Pro or any of our envelope making boards to create an envelope, then you'll be very familiar with this sort of process, and I'm sure you'll find this super easily. But if you've never even created an envelope before, really easy. All we're doing is we're trimming out that design from the pad, and then we're just going back in and cutting along these lines to remove the excess, so that when we fold our envelope together, we're going to get that lovely neat fold. And we're going to do this on all 4 of the envelopes that we've trimmed out. Now we're using 4 envelopes for this particular craft along. Completely up to you how many you choose to do. It depends how many pages you want in your little book. I thought 4 was quite a nice manageable number. Obviously we've only got an hour for this craft along, so I'm going to try and not witter on too much. You know what I'm like when I get talking about my craft, I could witter on for hours, but I'm going to try and squeeze this in within the 1 hour. But by using 4 different pages, it allows us to show off the 4 different designs that we've got within our card making pads, which I think is really nice to see that variety, because you do get an awful lot included in these pads, which is fabulous because you've got a lot to craft with. So just carrying on doing the same. We've got a few people saying hello, a few people joining us, which is lovely. It's nice to know that it's not just me on my own, because I am stood in an empty room and it does feel sometimes like I'm talking to myself. I feel like I'm back home in the craft room, talking to an empty room crafting. So it is lovely to have your guys' company at home. I wonder if you're crafting along. If you are, please do share your makes at the end. I do love to see what you create with these craft alongs, and I love to see the different spin that you put on my projects, or any of our craft experts projects for that matter. It's really nice to see how you actually take the project and make it your own. Perhaps you're going to add in your own photographs. Maybe you're going to decorate this blank, ready to add in your photographs in the new year. It's going to be a book from this Christmas. I think that'd be a lovely idea. Perhaps you're going to make this as a gift for someone else to fill in with their own photographs. Lots of different options, but I just want to show you how easy it is to actually create your own envelopes and your own memory books using our 12 by 12 inch card making pads. The envelopes themselves are 150 GSM. The cardstock elements in the pad are 250, so you get that variety there. So perfect to have your toppers on a slightly heavier weight and your envelopes on that lighter weight. So what we've got now is we've got our 4 envelopes all cut down, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to take our scoreboard. Like I mentioned earlier, I am using our fabulous so fabulous, I've forgotten its name, our Scoremaster. I wanted to say Big Score, and I knew it wasn't the Big Score, because you don't need an A3 scoreboard for these. An A4 scoreboard will work absolutely perfectly. And what we're going to do is we're going to go in, and I always say super top tip. It seems like a really daft thing, but once you do it, you'll be so glad that you have done it. Is with any of your scoreboards like this, just put a little marking down that centre score line of your scoreboard. So here it's at 4 inches. Makes a real difference when you're doing something like this and you need to line up top and bottom. So by having that marking on there, I know I need to score down that score line, and it's going to be perfectly straight and in the right position every single time. So just a tiny little top tip. It seems a little bit daft, but once you do it, it does make a real difference when you are using your scoreboard. So all we're doing is following those I say the perforation lines, they're not actually scored already. They've just given us a marking of exactly where we need to score to create our envelope. So what we're doing is we're just following those with our scoring tool. Nice and easy to do. Of course, you could be using any scoreboard you like, but it doesn't need to be A3. So we've got a few of you joining us. Wendy is saying she's loving the pad, she thinks it's beautiful. Couldn't agree more, I think the artwork is stunning. There's so many layers to that design, to the backing papers. I've got so much interest in there. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. I think they'll be perfect for lots of different recipients. I think young or old, I don't think it's too specific in terms of who these would be appropriate for. I think it's just a lovely classic design that's going to work for so many different people in your life, and showing now that it doesn't have to be about your cards. Of course, brilliant for your last minute makes. I know Ben was saying on this morning's wake up call that him and his Daisy are going to be doing a little bit of Christmas crafting this weekend, and they're planning on actually using the Christmas pad to make their Christmas cards, and I think that'd be lovely. It's a great one for the kids to get involved in. Like we said earlier, you don't need a die cutting machine, you don't need any really fancy tools. I mean, you saw the ingredients list, the equipment, the shopping list, that's the one. Thank you, Nicola, in my ear. Keeping me straight, it's needed sometimes when the words don't quite flow as easy as they could, or when I need to get my teeth in, which does happen a fair amount. But yes, our shopping list at the beginning, you saw how little was included on there. And actually, when I was speaking to Liam in the team earlier this week, when I submitted the list of products needed so they could build all our lovely little pictures that we show on screen, he said he thinks it's perhaps one of the shortest shopping lists they've ever had for a craft along. And I was sort of like, right, I've achieved what I wanted to with that, because I wanted to make it perfect for our beginner crafters. I didn't want you to have to use an awful lot from your crafty stash. I didn't want you to have to go looking elsewhere for dies that you potentially might have. I just wanted to really take it back to basics and allow these pads to sing for themselves, but in a way different to perhaps that they were designed. Oh, so we've got Jerry Johnson, she's feeling a little bit under the weather. Oh, I hope you feel better soon. We're definitely going to give you some crafting therapy and hopefully that will brighten you up. But please do look after yourself. Stay warm, stay safe inside, get crafting. A little bit of crafting therapy is definitely what we all need. So it's lovely to have your company, and I do hope you feel better soon. So what we're going in now, we've added our score lines using our scoreboard, and I'm just taking my bone folder and I'm just reinforcing those score lines. I'm folding in along those lines, and I'm using that bone folder to give me a really nice sharp crease. It's going to give me that really professional finish onto my envelopes. It's going to make them look, it's going to sort of give them that classy finish. So you're going to have those nice crisp folds onto our envelopes. Nice and easy to do. Obviously quite a basic tool, our bone folders. If you've not got one of these, make sure you check out the website. Only a few pounds to pick one of those up, and perhaps that's what's going to take you over that £20 mark, so that you can get those 100 bonus points, which quite frankly is amazing to get 100 bonus points on every single order over £20 or $20. So definitely do check that out. And like I say, winter sale, all sorts you'll find on the website, up to 70% savings. Crazy, quite frankly. And if you thought 70% was good, well, in Cartload tonight they've got savings up to 80% on some of those bundles. So quite frankly, I was going to say incredible savings, quite frankly ridiculous savings. So you're going to want to tune into that one tonight, but not until you've finished your craft along. Anyway, back to our envelopes. So we have a question coming in. So Tanya's got a question for us this afternoon. So she's asking why we've got one of the notches asymmetrical. All we're going to do is we're going to trim it off just to keep it symmetrical. It's just part of the design, but what I tend to do to get that need to finish, I'll just go in and trim it off. So brilliant question, but you don't need that there. We're just going to trim that off. Nice and easy to do. Just going to allow our envelopes to sit a little bit neater. So just go in with a pair of scissors and just trim that little notch off, and then we're going to start to stick our envelopes together. So trim that off like so. So I've scored them all. and they're ready to be stuck together. Now it's completely up to you what adhesive you choose to use to stick your envelopes together. At home I'd probably use my tacky glue, but just for speed, and also, probably shouldn't say this, but also because they are on that adhesive 3 for 2, we're going to use our tape runner. So a little bit of tape along that left and right hand side, and then your envelope will fold together like so. Super, super easy. I mean, couldn't be simpler, could it really? Incredible. So a little bit of tape along the top and bottom, and we're going to fold that together. And in the meantime, we've got another question. Keep them coming. Oh, Sensational Sky, lovely name. Oh. So what is my crafting story? Well, I do work behind the scenes at Crafters Companion. They let me in the studio every now and again. They let me run loose, but my day-to-day job, I work behind the scenes at Crafters TV. So I'm what they call a supervising coordinator, which sounds dead fancy. I do lots of bits behind the scenes, coordinating all of the graphics that we have on our shows, scheduling all the producers. So I do lots of different things behind the scenes, but I am super, super lucky to work here at Crafters Companion. It's just that I'm not on the screen, not on Crafters TV all the time, but I am behind the scenes most of the time. But it's lovely to have the opportunity to be able to come onto Crafters TV and share my ideas with you. I mean, I've been a crafter for many, many years. I've followed Crafters Companion probably for about 10 years now, so it's a little bit of a dream come true to actually be able to work here now. But I am a crafter first and foremost, for sure. You only have to look in my craft room and you'll believe me when I say that, because there's a lot of craft stuff everywhere, shall we say. But lovely to have your questions. Do keep them coming. If you've got any Christmas questions, Christmas jokes, let us know. I do love a little bit of Christmassy chat, especially on a Thursday afternoon so close to Christmas. Anyway, here are our 4 envelopes. How simple, how quick and easy was that to do, but how professional do they look? You've got that detail on the flap, they're lined with a pattern as well, and you've got that print all the way outside. Just absolutely stunning. And what we're going to do is we're going to start to build this into our memory book. So all we need to do is we need to stick the flap of one to the back of the other. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some of our tape pen, and I do find it's a good idea to add a little bit of wet adhesive onto the back to give you that little bit of wiggle room, because there is just that need to make sure that you get it in the right position. So we're just going to actually add a little bit of our tacky glue onto the back of there, and that's going to give us that little bit of wiggle room. Then what we're going to do is we're going to line up our envelope onto that flap, nice and easy to do. Don't burnish it down just yet, just check that it's going to fold and close, and it is, so that's in the perfect position. You're lining that side up with that score line there that we've got, and then just burnish that down. I was noticing Debbie Fisher the other day uses her bone folder an awful lot to burnish things down, and that is a really, really good idea to do. And then we're just going to do the same with the next one. But in the meantime, while I'm doing this, I hear we've got more questions, and I'm loving it. I love to get all your questions. Keep them coming. So what have we got? So Michelle Knits for you. Lovely to have your company. Ooh. Ooh, what size is the paper before folding? Are we talking about the card bases, or are we talking about the envelopes? The card bases themselves will create you a 6 inches by 4 inches card. So before you fold the actual card base, it will be 4 by 12. I'm hoping that's answering your question. If not, please do get back in touch and let us know, and we will do our best to answer if I've not answered it well enough. So do please get in touch. But yeah, the card bases that you create are 4 by 6 inches, so a nice little size, perfect if you are posting these and you've got a lot to send. It's not too big that it's going to be a large letter or super expensive to post, but big enough that you've got plenty of room to pop all of your embellishments onto there. So a really nice size on there. Final flap we're going to stick down, so using our tape runner, you will find those on the 3 for 2. Tacky glue, you will find it on the 3 for 2. Incredible. Size of the envelope, well, the size of the envelope will fit your 4 by 6 inch card, but if we want to know exactly what the size of the piece that you it's cut from, have we got a ruler? Yes, we have. Oh dear, it's centimetres. You know, I don't like my centimetres. The envelope itself, before it's folded, is about 20 centimetres square, roughly. So Nicola's just got her abacus out, and she's going to try and calculate that in it's about 7.87 I say about 7.87, so just over 7¾ inches for your envelope before you actually fold it into shape. I'm just checking before I burnish it down that everything's folded nicely and it sits nice, because you want to be able to make sure that we can close the book nice and easily. And that is created nice and quick and simple. It's created our very own little envelope book that opens just like so. How easy was that to create? Super, super quick, just using 4 envelopes. Now, in order to make sure that this actually closes and stays closed nicely and sits nicely, I've taken one of the borders from the pad. I've just snipped that out using my guillotine again, just from that lower edge of one of the pages. You do get all of those borders included, which is absolutely fabulous to have those in there. What we're going to do is we're just going to create a belly band. Now, I find the easiest way to do this is just lay it over the front of your book, fold one edge behind, line that up, straighten that up a little bit, and then trim down on this edge, and then fold back the other side, just making sure you've got a little bit more wiggle room, so I'm not folding it flush to the edge of that edge there. I'm leaving a little bit more room, almost like you're anticipating having your Christmas dinner with your belt. You don't want to do it too tight, because you think, I'll be having a few roast potatoes, so I'm going to be a little bit full after this. You just need to leave a little bit more room on your belt. Exactly the same with our belly band here. Leave that little bit of extra room, so you've got that little bit of freedom when you take this belly band on and off. Otherwise it ends up being a bit tight and you run the risk of actually snagging some of your embellishments that are on your on the front of your book. So using a little bit of our red liner tape just to secure that, and that is our belly band. I have to say, I'm not a big fan of that word belly band. Just, you know, certain words, you put your teeth on edge a little bit. For me, not a fan. But anyway, that's our closure, let's call it, for our book. a little bit easier. It's up to you which side you have as the front or the back, but I tend to have that flap on the front, so I find it folds out a little bit easier that way. Should we start to decorate the front? Let's start to decorate the front to start with, and then we'll focus on the inside, I think. So what we've got is we've got plenty of die cut embellishments in these pads. Everything's die cut, literally just pop it out, and it's super, super simple to do. I've already gone ahead and popped a few out. I'm just gonna have a little play with my design, and that's the beauty of working with these pads. I always say, don't commit to the stick. Have a little play around with your embellishments to start with, and then once you're happy with where everything's sitting, then you can go in and start sticking things down. I think I'm going to have Merry and Bright onto my little belly band, or whatever we're deciding to call it. So like I say, this little closure, let's go for closure. I think it's a little bit more, I don't know, it's just one of those words I'm not 100% keen, but I know it is the correct terminology for it, so we may have to go with the right wording. But what we're going to do is going to add a little bit of some of our foam tape to the back, and don't forget adhesive 3 for 2. Definitely check that out on the website. Now is for sure the time to stock up on all of your foam pads and anything like that that you need adhesive wise. Then we've got a few of our Christmas trees. Got a couple of these. I think we're going to lay those together, have them almost like a little group, with the larger one behind and then the little one at the front. And this is how easy it is. It's just having a play around with your embellishments. Don't overthink it too much. Just have a little play around, see what works best, and then stick them down once you're happy. You can really go to town with these if you prefer. If you want lots and lots of embellishments, then you've got plenty included in the pads, plenty to get playing with. Or if you want more minimalist cards, perhaps you're making these to sell for charity and you want your stash to go a really long way, and then you can be a little bit more minimalist with these, but the design is so beautiful that it really does speak for itself, so you don't need to add too many embellishments in if you don't want to. But of course you do have plenty included in the pads, and if you are stocking up, perhaps you got yours at the launch and you really love crafting with them and you're ready to sort of restock and get a few more, then definitely do stock up while we've got them, because I know this morning we didn't have many of our Christmas one left. I think was the one that we were a little bit low stocks on. So definitely do go quickly if you are fancying picking up these lovely pads. I think we'll go for the bow there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my pokey tool. And I always say it's a nice idea with any of your embellishments, whether they're flowers that you've die cut yourself, whether they're elements like we've got here from the die cut pad. So it's a nice idea to add a little bit of shape to them. I tend to use my pokey tool to do that. You can of course use your flower shaping tools and mat that you'll find on the website The ball tools work perfectly to shape that bow from behind, just to give it that more realistic effect, give it a little bit of dimension onto there to really make it pop. I'm just going to add that onto that right hand side. So I know on our original actual card we used, I say card, our original memory book even, we used a real ribbon bow to pop onto our sentiment. But if you've not got those in your crafty stash, or perhaps you've not got one that will match perfectly, then you do have those printed bows included as die cut embellishments within that kit. So really we've left no stone unturned at all, so much included embellishment wise in these kits. What I've done is I've just added on that little present onto that side there, add a little wreath, there it is. I think we'll have that on that top right hand side. It's nice to have the rule of 3, so you've got 3 embellishments down there with that graduation in size from that large one on the right hand side to that present, the small one on that left hand side. Works nicely to work in our odd numbers, 3 being particularly pleasing to the eye. It makes your designs look more interesting and more harmonious. So we're going to add that onto there like so. I'm feeling we need a little bit more embellishment onto there. We've got these lovely little like faux washi tapes. I think we'll go, I'm not 100% sure on that actually. Do I, don't I? I think it's better without. Do you know what, we'll leave them to one side. We might add them in at the end. If I change my mind, we'll add them in at the end. But I've remembered something that was meant to be a top tip. Ooh, and I have done it wrong, okay? I did exactly the same at home and I thought, right, when I do the proper craft along, I'll make sure I teach the guys at home to not make my same mistake, but unfortunately I've made it twice, but not to worry. So where you've got your embellishments below that belly band, or as one of our lovely viewers suggested, calling it a strap, I like that idea much better. Below our strap, you are welcome, you're able to have you're welcome to, yeah, you are welcome, but you're able to have your dimension at the bottom. But because we want to slide this stopper up, we don't want dimension at the top because it's basically going to get stuck and it's going to snag on those embellishments. So anything that you're sticking above that halfway point, above where that stopper is going to slide down to, you want that to be flat, just so it allows that bar to actually slide up nice and easy like so. Maybe if I make a third one of these I'll remember, maybe I won't, who knows. But yeah, 3's a charm maybe. There's our front cover all ready and good to go, but it's time to start embellishing the inside. And while we start doing this, we're just going to bring in some of our embellishments in order to do so. We've got a little question, so fire it at me. Kate McQueen is wondering, ooh, oh my gosh, now this is a cruel question. If I was stuck on a desert island, I hope, well, it'd be warmer than here, so maybe it wouldn't be so bad. But anyway, if I was stuck on a desert island, I could only bring one Sarah Signature collection with me. What would it be? Oh my goodness, what a question. That is super, super tricky. We've had some absolute corkers this year, I have to say. I love vintage butterflies. That for me, especially that paper pad and the pearl cardstock, is a real go-to. I'm trying to think how many of those 12 by 12 inch paper pads I have. I don't even know if I should admit to it. It's more than 4, I'll say that. Nicola's telling me we're all friends here, and I'm hoping you guys at home will be keeping my secret. Apparently Susie on the socials is also saying vintage butterfly. Oh, it is a popular choice for sure, but I'm thinking some of the really old ones. I'm trying to think, you know what I love? And there's a paper pad from it that I use time and time again, and I'm nearly out of it, which is quite sad. Years old, I don't know if any of you guys at home will remember this, Just for Men. That was a brilliant collection. I know that we struggle with our men's cards. I must think that must be at least 6 years ago. That is an old collection, but that's a brilliant one. Totally not my usual style. It's not girly and pretty and butterflies and flowers, but an absolute corking collection for all of your male cards. So that's totally different. I'm trying to think, what was it called? Vintage lace, some of those older ones. I loved those. Those country. Oh, apparently I can only have one. Well, unfortunately, I'm not having one. I'm having many more than one. You know what I'm like, Nicola. Nicola in my ear knows what I'm like. And I'm a crafter, and I don't do choosing when it comes to stuff like that. Well, I do choose. I choose them all. Yeah, that is a very nice collection. I remember all of like the first Sarah Signature collections because I've been following Crafters Companion for many, many, many years. And I remember I don't know what the first one was, but I remember when we first started doing them, we had some fabulous designs. I don't know how they keep coming up with so many brilliant designs. Dancing Dragonfly is a brilliant one, and I love the paper pads in that one. Again, have a few of those, shall we say, of course. But yeah, oh, there's been so many good ones. But what a brilliant question. I love and I hate questions like that, I'll be honest. They're great head scratchers, but it's sort of like, do I really have to pick? When you've got so many, and you forget about a lot of them, and then you're reminded, which I think is quite nice. But yeah, there's some super exciting ones coming up next year, I'm going to say. Oh my goodness, yeah, spoiler alert right there. You're going to have to make sure you stick around till January, because my goodness me, we've got some amazing stuff coming up. I'll say no more, because you know what I'm like. I'm not good at keeping secrets, I have to say. That's one thing people always say, oh, you're so lucky, you know, you get to see all the products ages before we do and know what's coming up and everything. I say, yeah, that is great, but I have to keep it a secret, which is not so good. That is the hardest thing, is not telling you guys, especially when I know that you guys are going to absolutely love it. It's like, I know what's coming, but I can't tell you, which is the hardest thing ever, keeping a secret. I mean, I am better at keeping secrets than our Debbie Robinson, let's be honest. We can't tell her anything. She gets very excited, just like me, but not the best at keeping secrets, let's be honest. But I mean, so many lovely crafty things to be stocking up on. But I love the fact that we've got our winter sale tonight. So if you are looking for a bargain, it's going to be the place to be. I know hopefully I'll be back home in time to catch the show. I'll be settled in my craft room, doing a little bit of crafting, definitely watching along. Nicola said with my stollen, well, I was telling the team last night, I was hoping to go and get myself a Christmas stollen. I've not had one this year yet. I was quite excited. Unfortunately, they'd run out, so I won't be enjoying the show with my Christmas stollen, but I do have some mince pies, so I'll definitely be using the mince pies. But yeah, my stollen hunt came back empty-handed. I was very, very sad. Walking back in the snow without my stollen, there's nothing worse, is there really? But yeah, I do love all my Christmassy treats, especially when I'm crafting. It's nice to have a little crafty snack when you are making in your craft room. But I'll definitely be looking out for the show this evening. It's going to be a really fun one. I love watching Craig and Ben. You know, we call them the dream team. We're not far wrong. They are absolutely brilliant. They do crack me up, so it's definitely going to be a fun show. But yeah, that's exactly why they're needing a little bit of a lie down this afternoon, because they've got a big show coming up tonight, lots of amazing offers, big wake up call this morning as well. So many of you tuning in, looking out for all the amazing deals, but it's going to be a good one tonight. We've had a fabulous suggestion come in actually from Michelle, saying this would be fabulous for bills. Couldn't agree more. I mean, bills are not fabulous, but this would be fabulous to pop all your little bills in. Maybe you've got little receipts that you need to keep. Maybe you have your own business and you need to keep all your invoices or anything like that. This would be perfect for that as well. So yeah, don't just think about it for nice things, I suppose. It could be very practical. I was thinking as well, it'd be nice for recipes if you've got little recipe cards. Stolen ones, they were a bit close to the bone, but yes, you could have all your Christmas recipes in here. How lovely would that be? But so many different options. It's totally up to you what you're going to pop in those envelopes. How about you're going to have some motivational quotes in there? Perhaps maybe you're going to have, I don't know, 12 of these envelopes, and once a month at the start of every month next year, you're going to open one of those pockets and you're going to read all of those motivational quotes, and it's going to sort of set you up for the month. I think that'd be a really nice idea. You guys at home probably know I do love a good motivational quote. I think it's really nice to start your day with some wise words, wise inspirational words, and this would be perfect to add those into those pockets. Maybe give them that as a gift as well. Perhaps you know someone who's gone through a little bit of a tough time and they want those uplifting words, and that would be absolutely perfect. So Susie is asking, could you add more envelopes layers to it and add another strap? Well, all you do if you want to add more envelopes, just keep adding. The only thing you need to bear in mind is that your little belly band strap, whatever we're calling it, will need to be a little bit looser, because our book will have had a few more Yorkshire puddings or a few more roast potatoes, so it'll be a little bit more chubby, a little bit thicker, but as long as you take that into account, so when you fold it up, it will just be a little bit thicker than this is. So when you create your strap using that technique, you'll just have to make it a little bit looser. But I can't see why you couldn't sort of go on and on and on and on with the amount of envelopes. So definitely I think you could get your 12 in there if that's what you're wanting to do, for sure. But just completely up to you how many you choose to put into your book. I guess as well, it's how much time have you actually got to fill all the books. How many photos have you got that you want to add? Maybe you've been on a specific trip over the summer. Perhaps you went for 7 days and you want one for each day. Maybe you've had a little newborn and you want to, maybe for the first 4 weeks, you're going to take a photo every week and you're going to add that into each little envelope. So many different ideas with this. So much fun, so many different things you can do. But isn't it fun what you can do with an envelope? Literally, we're just taking envelopes and we're building the whole project from there, which I think is so fabulous. You might not think immediately when you look at the pads that it's all about the envelopes, but absolutely that's what we're making this craft along all about. So how fabulous does that look? Just adding a few of the die cut embellishments, not an awful lot really, but just adding those onto the inside of our envelopes. But we're going to leave that to one side for just a moment. So that is our sort of main envelope all good to go. But what we're going to do is going to bring in some pages to actually go inside our little pockets. We need something to go inside there. And don't worry, I hope my mum and sister aren't watching at home because I'm bringing out some old family photographs. I don't know if they'll be best pleased. They are very old, so hopefully they're all right. No, Nicola's saying, my mum and my sister, they're very old. No, the photos are very old. Blimey, if they are watching, I'll be come off here to all sorts of abuse from my mum. I'm not old. Have you called me old on Crafters TV? But no, the photos are very old. So all we need to do, this would traditionally be our card base. What we do is we pop a score line down the centre, fold it in half, a lovely little 6 by 4 inch card base. There's also double-sided, which is incredible. How quality, how expensive looking does that look? Amazing, but quite frankly, that price point on the screen is not expensive. If you think the value for money, each pad can make, if you're using it in its intended form, if you like, you can make 16 cards with inserts, with matching envelopes. Amazing. So across that whole collection, if you're going for both of them today, you can make 16 times 2 is 32, I do believe. So somebody tell me if I'm wrong. So my maths is not always the best. I can craft, I can't maths. 16 times 2, 32. Phew, I was right. Oof. It's good. You can make 16 from each pad. If you're getting both pads, you can make 32, which is amazing. We've gone ahead and done exactly the same with the other 3 pages. So you can see each of the 4 different designs. All we've done is we've trimmed out that card base like we've just seen, and then just trim the back off. So you get 2 for 1. Could be using that for another project. That could be a mat and layer. It could be the start of another envelope pocket. Completely up to you. But we're going to use I think we're going to use some more heavily printed designs. Maybe we are, maybe we aren't. We're going to bring in some photos and decide exactly how we're going to sort of position this. Is it going to be too busy or not? So let's have a little look. And I love the fact that you've got the options. This is me. This is me when I was very little. I'd clearly received a nurse outfit. Very proud of that nurse outfit. I'm opening something there that looks like a toy car. Enjoying myself. Nice little pinafore on. No, that's not the same pinafore that I still wear these days, just for the record. So laying it on that side with the more heavily printed design, I think that works quite nicely, but I always say don't commit to the stick. Do we prefer it on the other side? Do you know what? I think I like it on the other side more, just to add that little bit of extra detail. I quite like that. It frames the images quite nicely. So let's go in that side, but it's nice that we've got those options, and it's almost like we're creating our own mini scrapbook. Perhaps you've always wanted to get into scrapbooking, maybe you've not got the time, or maybe you just feel really overwhelmed by a big 12 by 12 inch space and you're thinking, I'm not quite sure where to start, I don't know how I'd fill that whole base. Perhaps you're used to creating 6 by 6 cards and you're thinking 12 by 12 is a big step up for me. All this is a 4 by 6 inch piece of cardstock. So if you make your 4 by 6 cards, all we're doing really is creating a card, but instead of using toppers, where we might be using pre-printed toppers from a kit, we're using photos instead. That's all it is. It's just thinking of it as using our photos instead of toppers. And when we break it down like that, it makes it a lot more manageable, a lot easier really to craft with. Scrapbooking's not hard. All we're doing is we're changing up those designs, changing up things that we might be using from our crafty stash for photos instead. So definitely a perfect way into scrapbooking, creating your little memory books. And we're only doing 4 little pages, so it's not an awful lot at all. So for this one, this is baby Lily there, and that's my nanan. And if you're not from Yorkshire, nanan is a grandma. In Yorkshire, in Sheffield, we don't say grandma, we say nanan. So that's me and my nanan. My sister's hiding behind there. I'm not quite sure what she's doing, pulling quite a strange face. I do hope she's not watching. Mind you, she has messaged me this morning to say she's at a virtual work Christmas party this afternoon, so I think I'm safe. A virtual work Christmas party, I'm not quite sure what it involves, but I don't think she's watching, so I think I'm all right. And then my mum is at the side there. And I'm not sure if this is me or my sister with my granddad. I think it might be me, because I think it's taken about the same sort of time as that top one. It might have even been the same Christmas day. But that's, yeah, me and my granddad. There's my mum's old piano. Mum can play the piano. She's an amazing piano player. So I think she's still got that same piano at home, actually. So nice to have that in the background. You can see all the Christmas cards lined up along the bookcase there. It's nice, just nice to look at pictures, I think, to have those memories. And what I'm planning on doing over Christmas when I go and visit my family, planning on bringing both books that I've created. I think my mum's going to have this Christmas one. So I do hope she's not watching. She probably is. And then my sister's going to have the other one that I've made specifically for her with photos of us two over the years in. Now this is a cute little one. This is me at the front. Not quite sure what I'm wearing there. Quite a strange looking outfit. Strange looking socks as well. Probably some thick socks. I probably loved thick socks back then as well. Do like my cosy bed socks. But it's got me and my sister. It looks like it's probably Christmas morning. We're probably still half asleep. We've just come down to see if Santa's been. I have to say, this Christmas tree doesn't look like it's been decorated very well, does it? I do hope my mum isn't watching, but it just looks a bit of a mess. Mind you, it's probably, yeah, it's probably got a lot of the stuff that we brought home from school on there. I mean, a pine cone is probably not what you traditionally have on a Christmas tree, but we've got one on there. So yeah, strange old photo, but it's nice to relive those old photos. And I'm trying to see if we can see if we can actually have both these on the same page. I might just have one photo of this one, and I'll save this picture. I don't think that looks like me at all. I think that looks, I look quite different on there, but my mum seems to be giving me a present. My sister's hiding behind. Seems to be a little bit of a pattern emerging here. She seems to quite like hiding behind people. So yeah, a bit of a strange one there, but we're going to go for the one big photo. So it's up to you whether you want to use a series of small photos or just one large photo to fill that whole page. On this one, this is quite an entertaining one. I felt I had to include this because it is a little bit daft. So my mum is setting the table, she's putting the tablecloth on. My sister's opening a present and I seem to be eating something. Hey, I hope it's not stolen. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing there. I'm sort of hiding and eating something when everyone else can't see. I don't know what I'm eating. I would love to know. It's probably one of the selection boxes, isn't it, to be fair? You know what it's like on Christmas morning. You open your Christmas presents, you open up the chocolate, you end up eating half of it, then you don't want your tea, do you, which is terrible. But we're going to add a few more embellishments to these. Just think to really draw the eye into those photos and just add a little finishing touch, add a little bit more detail. Of course, we've got all these amazing embellishments included, so why not make the most of them? So let's go for that little candle with poinsettias down there. And now I would be careful with adding your foam pads to these inner pages, just because you don't want to add to the bulk too much. If you start adding all of your foam tape and your foam pads to these, what the danger is that you might actually make it too thick so that they don't fit into your envelopes anymore. So I would avoid, if you can, any sort of dimensional adhesives onto your inside pages. So all we're doing is we're just trimming around. I'm the same as Craig, watching Craig this morning. Neither of us can stand the little pips on your die cut pieces. They are necessary because otherwise they wouldn't stay in the sheet. If we didn't have them, they wouldn't stay in the sheet. So we do need them, but do just trim them off. Nice and easy to do. Super simple, just with a little pair of scissors. Spoilt for choice is what I absolutely love about these pads. You get so much included. You really are spoilt for choice. So we go for that one, yeah, with a little robin. But really easy just to pop these out. So if you are crafting with the kids, you don't even need scissors really to get these out of the pads if you don't want to. You can of course just be trimming those little pips off just to give that neater finish. I know some people recommend using a nail file or emery board. Definitely not something I would do, because what you can end up doing is you can actually file that actual print off when it's a printed design like this. So I probably wouldn't recommend doing that. But if it works for you, I always say if it works for you, give it a go. But I tend just to use my scissors to trim those little pips off. Nice and simple to do to give you that professional finish. So layering these up, perhaps you want to journal your own messages onto here. Perhaps you've got some of our art liners and you just want to add your own messages. Perhaps little humorous captions. I know my mum had an old scrapbook that she did when my sister was little, and she gave everything sort of funny little captions, which was quite entertaining looking back over the years, and like pretending that she was the specific person that was saying them. So like my sister as a 2-year-old, the little captions, oh dear, blimey, my mum is watching, oh dear, she is watching. Oh, do you know what? I'd forgotten. She told me the other day that she's booked these 2 days off work, probably because she's like me and very disorganised with Christmas shopping. I'll just out her on that one as well. So she's probably getting ready for Christmas. She's watching. She is very old. Oh dear, I'm going to get it when I see her over Christmas. My goodness, blimey me. I might not be allowed in the house. I might turn up at the door and they say, excuse me, no, you're going back to County Door, and you're not welcome anymore. But she's watching, she's enjoying the project, and she's liking seeing the old photos, which is what it's really all about. I think it'd be really nice when I give this on Christmas to my family. It'd be nice just to go through those photos. I absolutely love looking at old photos. I think it brings back so many memories, especially these days. We store all our photos on our phone. We have all these photos, we don't tend to look at them. I don't know if any of you guys at home are like me. We take a lot of pictures, we don't tend to do much with them. Get them in a little book. When you've got just 4 pages to decorate, it's so easy to do. I mean, we're doing this from scratch in a 1-hour craft along, start to finish. Shows how quick and easy it can be if you want it to be. I think we sort of think, scrapbooking, I've not got time to do that, I've not got all the resources, I'm not quite sure where to start, but it's just showing it can be quick. It doesn't have to be about a big 12 by 12 inch album. I mean, perhaps you are going to progress onto doing the larger albums in the future, but just testing the waters with a little mini book like this is a perfect place to start. You're not having to invest in binders or anything expensive like that. We are literally just using our make and send pads, a few tools. In terms of other consumable elements, we're not even bringing in our multi-purpose card, not bringing in any coloured card or anything like that. How easy is it to create using these fabulous make and send pads? Of course, I did do the variation with the everyday. So if you are wanting something that little bit different, you can do a similar thing with the everyday pad. But it's exactly the same sort of idea, that same sort of concept of creating that book, using the envelopes, whether you're using 4 like I have, perhaps you're going to do more, maybe you're going to do 6, 8, 10, completely up to you. I'm saying all even numbers now. I don't think it has to be an even number of pages. I think it can be any number at all. You can do as many as you like, just extending that little strap around the outside, so that it's going to fit onto your book, whatever size that will be. And you've got those options to create it as large or as small as you like. And these little corners as well work perfectly for scrapbooks, great for your little photo corners. Get so many of these included. I mean, I think you have them on all of the die cut sheets, or at least most of them, and you get 4, so you get 1 for all 4 corners. We're only going to use 2 here, so you get even more value just by using 2, but it's still going to give us a lovely effect. And just framing my mum, putting that tablecloth on. I have a funny feeling, I'm sure she's still got that top. Mum, if you're watching, have you still got that top? Funny feeling she has. I've just outed her there. We know she's watching, she's always watching. Let's bring this way. She's always watching. She, I have to say, she messaged me after I was on the other night with Ben. She loved Ben's jumper. Ben's, you know, the fire jumper that he wore the other night. She did like that jumper. She was wondering where he got it from, so that was definitely proving a hit. He does have some fabulous Christmas jumpers. I mean, we're having Christmas jumper here today, tomorrow even, sorry, at Crafters Companion. Unfortunately, I only have 1 jumper to choose from, and I won't look as fabulous as Ben with his real fire jumper. I mean, Craig's this morning was brilliant with his little carrot nose on his snowman. But yeah, lots of fabulous Christmas jumpers on show. Maybe you're going to create a book showing off all your family's Christmas jumpers over the years. Hey, that could be quite fun, couldn't it? You could have like Christmas jumpers over the years. one for each different little envelope. So many ideas with these pads, but it is such a fun project. Perhaps you're going to be creating this with the children, perhaps you're going to be using their pictures, maybe photos from the school nativity. How cute would that be, to have all your different little photos. Maybe it's something that you're going to add to over the year. Maybe you're going to create the book now and then you're going to fill in each page, each different month, something a little bit different to sort of work throughout the year. I think that would be quite a nice idea to do that, just to build that up and see it take shape. Let's have that bow onto there. Do I like that onto there? Yes, I think I do. I'm nearly covering my mum, but not quite. It's not hiding as much as my sister behind there. And it's just up to you how much you choose to embellish these. You can really go to town, bringing out all those embellishments that we've got in the pad, and of course them being die cut makes it so easy. Your die cut embellishments are 250 GSM. They're on a coated cardstock, but you still can add all of your glitters. You can add your gilding flakes perhaps if you want to enhance them even more. Go in with some of your permanent markers. Whoa, a massive fly's just joined us in the studio, blimey. You would have thought it was a bit cold for that, but obviously this is a very hardy northern fly that's come in, joined me. I think it wants to be in the scrapbook. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. But anyway, adding our corners onto that. Let's have another one over here just to fill that out for balance. But 250 GSM coated on your die cut pieces. So the pieces where you've got your card base and you've got your die cuts, that's 250 GSM. And then the sheets where you have your envelope, and you know when we cut away our inserts and those borders, that is 150 GSM uncoated, which means it's perfect for your insert. You don't have to worry about what other different pen you're using. You don't have to worry about having a permanent marker. Because that's uncoated, you can use any of your fine liners. Perhaps you're going to use your lovely art liners to write on the inside of your cards, but that being uncoated is absolutely perfect. So you have the two different weights in there of cardstock, which I think is brilliant because it just means that everything is going to work absolutely perfectly. And let's have a few more embellishments onto this one. I'm thinking, so I'm so spoilt for choice. It's absolutely fabulous to have all these different designs, but it's kind of like, where do I start? I want to use everything. So I think I'm going to have to create plenty of these little mini books. I have had so much fun making this, and I'm hoping you guys at home have enjoyed the craft along, and I hope you're going to actually create your own little memory books, and I'd love to see what you make. So many different options. We've had a suggestion as well that you could make these into envelope boxes, just with a few extra score lines. I'm sure that will be possible. I know you guys at home are super clever, super creative, and you could easily come up with something like that. Wouldn't be difficult to do at all when you've got all those fabulous scoreboards as we do here at Crafters Companion. I have to say, I do love our scoreboards. Craig did a fabulous show last weekend actually. I think it was a starter skills all about scoreboards. So if you are brand new to crafting and you're thinking, what are all these scoreboards we're talking about? How do I create a box? How do I create my own envelopes? That's a brilliant show to actually watch back. Perhaps while you're waiting for cartload tonight, you want a little bit of something to watch, then that would be a good one to look back for. And I love the fact that all of our shows, we keep them sort of I'm going to say live, but keep them on the web, so it's up to you. Perhaps you've not got time to watch the shows live, but you want to go back and watch them at a later date. Maybe when you get your collection home, you want a little bit more inspiration. I love the fact that we keep all those shows archived, so you can go back and watch at your own leisure, your own convenience. Perhaps you're going to get these make and send pads home today, and then you want to watch back the launch show, fabulous launch show. I believe it's the 14th of November with Debbie and Ben. Ben was even crafting along, which goes to show, it's going to sound rude, but I don't mean it, goes to show how easy it is. Off the cuff, him crafting along using these fabulous make and send pads. I'm wondering if we need any more. I think that shall do us nicely for that. We're going to bring back in our book, and I love the way that this sort of opens out. But we have another question, so hit me. So Sensational Sky, so do we, this is an interesting one. Do you have any tips about the best way to photograph your cards? Definitely lighting is so important, so you need it well lit, but you don't want it super bright, because otherwise it can sort of wash your cards out and the colours don't show true. Try and photograph against a neutral background, but something that's a contrasting tone to the colour of your card. So if you were photographing I don't know. If we were photographing this, I wouldn't want to pop that against a purple background because then the project's going to sink into the background. If you've got a white card base, like I so often do for my cards, don't photograph against a white background because it can sort of sink into that background layer. So many of you guys at home take fabulous pictures of your cards. I have to say, I'm a little bit jealous sometimes. I feel sometimes my pictures are a little bit substandard, but photograph against a nice neutral background. Don't want it to be white if your card base is white, or don't want it the same colour as whatever that project is. Just try and make sure that it's well lit but not too bright. Don't want that glare, especially if you've got mirror card, you don't want the glare of the lights. But just have a little go, a little experiment, make sure that you frame it nicely. So don't sort of crop it down if you need to. But yeah, nice question, I quite like that one. Think a little bit different. But yeah, just have a little go and see what works best for you. I know a lot of people have a little area in their craft room that they sort of set up, that they've found where the lighting is best to actually photograph their makes. But just have a little go, find that area where you get the best light at a certain time in your craft room or anywhere in your house for that matter, and then just use that as perhaps your little photography area if you like, make it sound a little bit fancy. There's a certain area in one of my craft rooms, you guys at home probably know I have 2 craft rooms, but there's an area in one of mine where I find at a certain time of day get really nice lighting in there that just makes my projects look really quite nice and show up nicely, so I tend to photograph my makes in there. But I'm going to be totally honest, that picture that you saw at the start of the show of this project, I didn't take that. Our Jamie on the team, our apprentice Jamie, took that picture, so I can't take credit for that one, I'm afraid. But yeah, do just have a little go with your photographs. So all you have to do is you have to slide in your little pages. They slot nicely into those envelopes like so. You might have seen one of them was snagging a little bit. That can just be your embellishments. Should slide in. You've got enough room within there, but just take care because obviously we do have elements stuck onto there. Flat, of course. Like I said, I wouldn't recommend using your foam pads onto there. Just looking at this, I'm thinking we need another little embellishment up there. So of course we've got plenty included. What do we go for? I think we've not used this one yet. Let's have a look how this is looking. Yeah, I quite like that. Let's go for that. And I love the way that all of the different designs within the pad, they all work together beautifully. So although you do have those 4 sort of distinct designs, so 4 different topper sheets with their matching envelopes, all of them will mix and match together really nicely. So like I'm doing here, I'm not just using embellishments from one sheet for one section, I'm using them across that whole pad, which I think is fabulous to be able to mix and match. So all we have to do is just fold that together, folds together really nicely and easily. Then we pop on our little strap, our little band goes around the edge of that, and that creates, how easy was that to create our very own little book using our envelopes. I'll show you the alternative that we've done with the everyday just to show the contrast. So that's using our Christmas pad. Exactly the same sort of idea with the everyday. This is the one that I created at home that we saw the photograph of. So we've got our little belly band that goes around the outside. I've used one of my outliners. This is just our Spectrum Noir outliners. You will find those on the website. I've cut out one of the borders. I've trimmed the edges into that pennant shape, and I've just popped sister on there because like I say, I'm going to give this to my sister. And I've remembered in the end on this one, flat embellishments above that halfway line, and below that halfway line you're free to add 3D foam tape, but just so you can get that belly band around. A little ribbon bow, that's from the I believe it's Violet Studios Farmstead Easter collection. Just to add a bit of texture, but we've seen with this particular one, you don't have to add any other ribbons in if you don't want to. You can use your die cut and printed ribbons. And when we fold this out, time to show off some pictures, I think. We've got baby Lily and my big sister, and then again, me with my big sister there. Having a little cuddle on the sofa. I thought those were 2 lovely photographs. And then the next one, I think my mum makes an appearance on this one. Slightly newer photographs. I think that's about 1.5 years old, and that's about 3 years old. I think we're actually about to go and watch Britain's Strongest Man, actually. So another different passion of mine that might perhaps surprise you. But I am a strongman fan. So that was before we went to go and watch Britain's Strongest Man one evening. Then we're going back in the past again. Me and my sister, we've just finished our breakfast. I'm not quite sure why somebody's then whipped the camera out. We've still got the banana and the yoghurt there, but we were showing off our braids that we had done on holiday. And then again, that's me, my mum and my sister on holiday. I think somewhere in Greece, but how blue does that sea look? You just want to dive in, it looks incredible. And then a few years, I want to say this is probably about 10, 15 years ago now. Me and my sister are keen runners. We run for the same athletics club. We have since I was about 5 or 6, and that's us after competing, stood in our club vest, even got our numbers on in the garden. So it's nice just to take that little sort of trip down memory lane. I can't wait to give that to my sister over Christmas, and we can sort of relive those memories together. I'm sure she's got little snippets of memories that perhaps she remembers with being older that I don't remember. That giving a book like this is going to stimulate and evoke those memories. So I think it's something that's really important to give to our loved ones. Whether you're creating them for Christmas or whether you're making them with our all occasions pad, you saw how easy that was to make. So quick and easy, but so much fun to put together. I really hope you've enjoyed the craft along this afternoon as much as I have. Like I say, please do share your makes if you have crafted along. I've had a fabulous time. I'll be back on Crafters TV actually tomorrow morning for Wake Up Call with Craig and Becky Swan. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Make sure you tune in for Cartload tonight with Ben and Craig. But thank you for your company this afternoon.